No, I'm 15. No, I'm 15. No, I'm 15.
Welcome to episode 10. I'm joined by my special guest, my oldest friend. If you want to get in a time machine and see when we met, my guy Efrain Vega. What's up, bro?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Yeah. He is not only my video game go-to guy, but also you're a cinephile just as much as I am, I think.
Right. Yeah, I would say you and I definitely are the geeks of our crew. Video games, movies, and stuff like that, comics and stuff.
Yeah, for sure, man. So when I had this idea, I was like, I gotta get Efrain on. So what we're doing today, guys, we're going to, and I think this will be the first episode of probably 3-part series of movies based on video games. I think there's quite a few now. What do you think?
Yeah, there's just a couple. Probably some that could have been done without, but that's life, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're gonna stick to live action for now. I know there's like some animated ones out, and those are probably fairly newer movies, but
yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep,
they're probably better.
Definitely better. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Sonic, but that was
a nice surprise.
Yeah. I didn't, after everything it went through with all the publicity, with like the character and everything.
That's when the gamers having a voice works wonders.
Yeah, I was amazed at that, man. So yeah, let's get to our list. We got, I'm gonna call them the Dirty Dozen. I think right now, close to like 30, I think almost 40 live action films. I think it's like 38 or so. So
okay. Yeah, it's more than you would think, for sure.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. Well, you'll see as we go through this list tonight. We're going to do this based on state. So, do you want to go first on the first one here?
I'll let you go first, kick it off, and see what the rhythm's like.
All right. So, the first film is Super Mario Brothers. This was released on May 28th, 1993, I think. I was probably 13 going on 14. Definitely probably had high expectations for this when it came out.
Yeah, I think it was pretty hyped up for a certain crowd.
Mm-hmm. It's I just remember thinking, because the game was so popular at that time too. I think that was a little bit after, I think Mario World came out. Maybe a couple years after Mario World.
I think so. I think Mario World, are you talking about the movie or the game itself?
The game itself, yeah.
Yeah, the game, Mario World was like 91, 92. I know it going to Japan first. It's something around that time.
So at that time, I was like pretty hyped for the movie because, that game was pretty dope when it came out for Super Nintendo. But when you get into the movie, it kind of gets sketchy because it's definitely not in that world. Because it starts off in New York, right? So.
Yeah, they went another way on that.
Let's see. We got Bob Haskins playing Mario, I think, and the John Leguizamo playing Luigi.
I think it's Leguizamo, but I think people know what I mean.
Leguizamo. I'll say it legit. John Leguizamo.
Well, it's kind of a synonym for the movie, right? It's spelled one way, but it's done differently.
That's exactly what happened, dude. And the title for this film was "This Ain't No Game."
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the cover right now, and it's pretty amazing. Yeah, Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo doing both sides of the M with the thumbs up and a salute. It doesn't get
dude.
No game than that. I almost thought it was covered for Bad Dudes.
Oh my gosh, dude! That's gonna be a whole nother episode. We're gonna have to talk about games that should be movies instead of games that were made into movies.
Right. Yeah.
Bad Dudes is basically like District 13 or not District 13. What's that movie called? District B13, where like
like Bonnie Luther, the French one.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was a cool film.
That's Bad Dudes. Yeah, that's Bad Dudes right there, where they're jumping on top of fences and just fighting people.
Yeah.
Doing helicopter kicks.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was fun times.
So, did you know? I didn't know this about Mario Brothers. It was distributed by Walt Disney Studios.
I did not remember that, but I remember reading about the movie and Nintendo Power of all things before it came out, and they had a nice little preview. And now that you say that, I remember reading something about Disney being involved in it.
Oh my gosh, dude!
So that's a rude awakening. That's funny.
Deep cuts, even with Nintendo Power on there.
Yeah, rest in peace.
That's Jesus. That was like the magazine I always wanted, but my parents would never buy me. Like, nope. What do you want that shit for? There's nothing in there.
Yeah.
There's nothing of substance.
Look at me now.
I guess that's the first movie on this list. It's kind of I think it's so bad now that it's kind of got like a cult following. It's
for sure. Over the years, it's definitely been given that title. So bad it's good. It's just a fun movie to watch when you're drinking with friends and not taking things seriously.
Yeah, for real. The story's kind of, I guess, if you weren't a video game fan, you could follow it as a movie. But if you were the fan of the game, you'd be kind of confused.
Yeah, it might even be a little confusing if you're not a fan, but it's definitely it rolls off the tongue better if you had not known that this was based on a video game.
Oh my god. Yeah, because like, okay, somehow dinosaurs evolved into people, and then
right there already.
People evolved from monkeys, and then Princess
Daisy.
Was it Daisy? Daisy. Yeah, it was Daisy. She grew up on Earth, but she hatched out of an egg. I think that was like the thing.
Yeah,
in the movie.
I think so. I think you're right on that. There's something about like a meteorite crashing into Earth and killing dinosaurs, splitting the universe or something.
But you know what's even more confusing is in the movie, I think her father was like King Toadstool in the movie, and they had that evolve and de-evolve chair that they would use on people.
Yeah.
And he de-evolved into like a mushroom.
Yeah, some kind of fungus, right?
Yeah, but somehow she hatched out of an egg. So I'm confused. Right
you think that'd be like Yoshi or
so bad. Yeah, dude. Like, shouldn't she have grown out of a mushroom or something? But yeah, that's kind of the movie in a nutshell for me. I mean, it has funny moments, action, and stuff like that. But
yeah.
So do you want to go on to number 2 on this list of the Dirty Dozen?
So the next film would be Double Dragon.
Oh my gosh. Guilty pleasure right there.
It is. I'm looking at the cover of this one here, and the cover at least looks straight up like a video game.
Yeah, it does.
Power, Justice, Darkness, Light.
Oh, man. 2 halves of an ancient puzzle are the only hope.
And they got the picture of the medallion cracked in half with each brother on top of each one.
So what did you think of the game, man, before we get into the movie?
Yeah, going from the games, well, at that point, I think there might have been, obviously the first one, the arcade, Double Dragon, and obviously it was out for NES already. Double Dragon 2 might have been out, and it's possible that Super Double Dragon may have been out for Super Nintendo at this time, since I think it was already out for a couple years here in the US. And so I think they were trying to build on that. And
gotcha.
Because obviously it was super popular in the arcade, very popular. I think Dad and Bad Dudes were like contesting with each other to obviously get the quarters, right? And so I think this one actually became a more famous one. Of course, we all know that now. And so yeah, I think Hollywood obviously got wind of it, and there's money to be made, right? Yeah, little kids get their parents to see a movie based on a video game. What could go wrong?
Oh my God, what could go wrong?
Scott Wolf of Party of Five fame and Mark Dacascos. So at that point, I knew him from Only the Strong, which is the Capoeira movie. That's a guilty pleasure in itself right there.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And then Alyssa Milano and Terminator himself, Robert Patrick. So they had I guess a decent cast, but they're called Jimmy and Billy Lee, and they weren't really fitting that description. They're Right? So Hollywood in the early 90s. What are you going to do?
Hollywood with the whitewashed and not even all the way whitewashed.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Dacascos, like, that dude was a legit martial artist.
Oh, yeah, he's cool.
You know what I'm saying? That's the problem kind of with this film, because he's like, if he's not doing it, isn't doing his martial arts stuff on the film, like Scott Wolf is just like throwing punches over here and swinging arms around, and it's like the worst thing ever. You can tell if you cannot fight. Yeah. Or at least, I mean, I'm sorry if he ever happens to hear this, it just looks like he wasn't training as long as Mark. Let's just say that.
No, it definitely helps that Mark already knew pretty much everything to do regardless, so he definitely had the advantage on that front.
I definitely grew up with this game, dude. Like, Double Dragon 2 was my jam on Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
I played that, like, to death. I probably beat that game, like, I don't know how many times. And then the film is just it's like of that time, kind of like Ninja Turtles in a way. You know, it's got that. It's kind of like an adventure, but it's not as cohesive as Ninja Turtles and sticking to the source material as much.
Yeah, and you can see how one worked and one didn't.
Yeah, man, and that's kind of the problem with a lot of these films. I think when they're not done well, is just the source material isn't like adhered to.
Alyssa Milano here as Marion, which is the girlfriend from the video game, who gets punched in the gut and thrown over the shoulder and taken away in the game in the beginning. Yeah. Didn't happen here, at least as far as I remember.
No, she is the leader of the Power Corps in that movie. That is like some gang.
For the most part, eye candy for the movie, you know.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm sure everyone remembers the scene where she's crawling through the tunnel, and yeah, that's the scene that I think most people remember the most. Unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. That's unfortunately that's it, man. That's and they even kind of, whoever's filming this movie, kind of like, you can tell that's all he's literally trying to do. So, it's kind of bad.
Yeah. Just
but yeah,
the medallion, putting them together so they gain power, and it's just something else. They should have ended with the two brothers fighting each other from Marion at the end, like the game.
Oh yeah, exactly. But it didn't work out, because then at the end they still turned and had to fight Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
Somehow had an Asian villain name, but an American name at the same time. So go figure. His name was something Coco Shuko, something like that.
Coco Beware? What?
Oh no, it's Koga. My bad. I totally said that wrong. Coco Beware. He probably would have spiced this flick up.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's Double Dragon, I guess, in a nutshell. Would you recommend it to anyone?
Bunchies are pretty bad, but this one's also kind of in that certain place with Super Mario Brothers, something that you could probably watch now and just appreciate the silliness of it.
Yeah.
It's just silly now.
It is, man. You know what is funny to me when I think about that movie? I think about how Escape from New York essentially created the same environment, but like 30 years before almost, and it was better. Yeah,
because it was Russell and John Carpenter filmmakers there.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing too loud.
Yeah, I agree.
That's true. Definitely. You can't say anything bad about that. I guess we'll go on to the next one here.
Oh, yes. This is a good one.
Yes. So, can I take this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. We are on to 1994. The film is Street Fighter. One thing I'll do really quickly, because I don't think we did it for the first two. So I think we'll do the box office for those films, right?
Okay.
I think Super Mario Brothers made $20 million in the box office.
All right.
When it was released, against a budget of $48 million. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now we know why Nintendo never let any of their other properties become films. So, and then Double Dragon made $2 million.
Jeez, what was the budget on that?
The budget on Double Dragon, $7.8 million. So
okay, it's a little better, but that's still crazy.
Yeah. That's it, man. So
they didn't have Dennis Hopper.
I know. Yeah, that's true. That's probably true. So on to Street Fighter, released on December 23rd, 1994. Jeez, bro, this was a Christmas movie.
Wow, I remember that at all.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I remember seeing it at the theater, but I didn't remember it was a. Damn, it came out at Christmas time. Yeah, another movie that came out probably. We were probably about 14, 15 at the time.
Yeah.
In high school. Definitely at the arcades playing games and stuff, especially Street Fighter. I mean, come on,
Oh,
man.
sure.
Street Fighter was like that was like the fighting game for me. It was like I remember that was like the first fighting game I think I ever really played a lot. I played it in Mexico too for the first time. Like that was the first time I ever saw it.
I think I might have seen it for the first time. I think in Lakehurst. There's a mall over close to us where we lived. They had a couple arcades, Cyber Station and Aladdin's Castle. And I think I remember at Aladdin's Castle they had it. And it was just seeing that for the first time. I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then from there, I
remember
played at the Lighthouse, which is closer to my old house when I lived with my parents back in the 90s. I go to the quarters to play one game. Walk 15 minutes to play one game.
I used to do that too. I used to I remember just kind of backtracking a little bit. I saw I think it was like Blanca versus Dawson.
Yeah.
That was like the first fight I saw, and I was like, "Yo, this is crazy! What is this?" And I earned the moniker of the Arcadian from my family in Mexico. My cousins said because that's where I was at the whole time.
Taking after Eddie or what?
the Eddie Arcadian. That's my English translation to from Spanish.
Oh man.
They would call me maquinitas because that's what they would call arcade games.
Okay.
Because that's where I would stay at the whole time. I was like, where's Caesar at? Oh, he's at the arcade.
Yeah.
That's basically where I was at the whole time.
Funny.
But I used to do that too. I used to have like 50 cents and Mike's Pizza off of Lewis. They had
they did
cabinet
right?
Street Fighter 2 in the back. Yeah, they had it in the back, and I would walk all the way over from my parents' house to play one game.
The good old days.
That's probably why we hold up the film so much, because we had such high expectations.
Yeah, and again, Hollywood went a different way. Like the game, it's really set up as Ryu being like the main character, along with Ken, I guess you would say. And Guile was obviously a character in the game as well, and had his own storyline and stuff. But when you think Street Fighter, you really think Ryu and Ken. And so the movie decided to take another way and use Guile as the protagonist. And hey, that's all fine and dandy. Try to do what works, right? And they got Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile, American, with the Belgian accent. So it's a little hard to take seriously. It's when I first watched the theater, I remember with a buddy of mine and our ex-girlfriends and stuff. Obviously, because I was like, Jesus Christ, 25 years ago now. And that turned out to be the high school sweetheart. I was liking it, but bewildered at the same time, And it's like, wow, that was something when I walked out of the theater.
Dude, that is, for me, is you read my mind. That is what I thought right away, is like, why is Guile the star of this film, and why is Guile not an American dude?
Like, why couldn't they get Dolph Lundgren? What was he at the time,
That would have made sense, but like, I can't even remember. I think I saw that at Lakehurst too, back in the day.
Yeah,
but, I also think that was a movie that I would watch when I saw it, and I thought, okay, something's gonna happen here. No, it's gonna happen here. No, it's gonna happen here, and no, it's gonna happen here, and no, it never happened. Right? So, like, basically, that whole film, to me, it is a cult classic now because people just, it's so bad it's good. Like, to me, that film comes down to waiting till there's 5 minutes left in the movie to show you that Blanca is not even gonna fight no whatever. He doesn't ever become Blanca till the freaking end of this movie, and that pissed me off so much.
Yeah, I was wondering how they were gonna do that, and I guess they didn't have the money in the budget to get that information going.
But they're able to get Raul Julia flying around, and
he was the best part of the movie. Raul,
that's the craziest thing about that movie. That is like, a guy has no business being Bison, and he's the best part of the movie.
He really was.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
he played that role. It was serious and funny.
Bison again could have been Dolph Lundgren again.
That's true.
He has a chin and everything.
Oh yeah, he did.
Like, that would have been awesome.
He looked the part. Well, that was cool. He wasn't as built as Bison, but hey.
You know what's interesting is about this movie in particular, the director Steven, I think it's Steven DeSalsa. That dude, he like wrote some of the biggest movies, dude, back in the day. Like he was the writer for like Commando, Die Hard, Judge Dredd,
Oh,
like 48 Hours. He was like a pretty prolific screenwriter, in Hollywood. But I think that was one of his first movies he ever directed.
okay.
And based on his writing, there was nothing. No one. He did The Running Man too. He wrote the script.
Oh,
for
that's
The Running
classic.
Man. So, I'm pretty sure Hollywood was confident this movie's in good hands. But again, just because you're a great writer like Stephen King, directing Maximum Overdrive is not always the best thing to do.
Can you take that back?
Hey, I love that movie too. I'm just saying.
Oh man.
I understand. I get it. I know what you're saying.
All right, so
So
move on.
yeah, on to the next one.
All right, so the next movie would, to me, be definitely in the top 2 or 3 of video game movies that have ever come out, which is Mortal Kombat. It came out in 1995. I can't remember the exact date. It was August
It was
August. or 18th. And I always remember going to the theater to see that, and it was sold out for the time I was going to. That's why I waited like an hour and a half later to finally watch it at like midnight. But
Wow.
so that movie was hyped up beyond belief. I think even more than Street Fighter, to be honest.
Was that how did you feel about the game? Before.
Oh, I love the game. So that was probably the Street Fighter 2's first big competitor, which is it's still around to this day, and they're still doing their thing, and it's great. It was a fun game. It was very gory, very controversial when it came out because of blood and the fatalities, and parents and senators saying that this isn't good for our kids. And okay, what about all the movies? That's another conversation.
That's true.
And so this movie they had a lot of cool, they're really hyping up the special effects. I remember where it came out. I remember watching like a behind the scenes sort of making of on, I don't even know what channel it was at the time, maybe a week before the movie came out, and I was being so hyped up for it. And so it finally comes out, and I liked it. It was a fun movie that Paul W.S. Anderson directed it, and they had main characters who were Liu Kang, Sonya, Johnny Cage, and Raiden, I think it was. Yeah, Raiden. And Robin Shaw, which was at the time at least unknown in the U.S. I mean, he didn't really do much after, that I recall. He did the Beverly Hills Ninja, so I guess, yeah. But he was a great pick to me. Yeah. And then you had Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage, and he was really fun in that role. He played that role pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, that dude was awesome. He was awesome.
Sonya Blade and Christopher Lambert. There could be only one as Raiden, so
the Highlander himself, damn it.
It was cool. I mean, had a lot to be hyped up about, and for all intents and purposes, I still go back and watch it, and I can really still enjoy it like when I was watching it for the first time. Because I really still think they got with the material as far as the game goes. And the game, like I said, was crazy, old school, Shaolin monk sort of tournaments for characters who have these crazy powers, ripping heads off, limbs and stuff like that. So people want to see that in the movie. Obviously, it wasn't rated R, so we couldn't get away with that. You had some kind of fun things to substitute for, but to me, it was a really cool movie.
Yeah, definitely, man. I agree. I'm gonna run back real quick and do the Street Fighter numbers. I think Street Fighter made $99 million at the box office on a budget of 35. So that wasn't a total.
Oh yeah, that's a good one for that company.
Yeah, that's from the fandom. Okay. I think so many people wanted to see that do well, but Mortal Kombat, dude, for me too. My brother, I think, was working at Williams at the time, and he knew I was all about Street Fighter at that time. And he was like, "We got this game coming out called Mortal Kombat. It's gonna blow Street Fighter." I was like, "Whatever, man." I was like, "Shut up," And then when I saw that at the arcade, I was like, "Oh crap! This is a game my brother talked about." And then they're showing these like fatalities, and like I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "He's right." It was like that next step for us, I guess, in adolescence. But I definitely dug the game. Did the movie come out prior to the second game coming out? Or was it
That's
after?
A good question. Not sure, to be honest.
Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, they might... If you look it up, they might show the console versions first or something.
Not the movie, the game. The game was released in '93. So yeah, it was released right before. It was released before the movie.
Okay.
So
So yeah, even all the
I
hype,
was
you know
just
what I mean?
wondering. Yeah, that was big time hype then because I remember in the movie. I just watched it recently, maybe about a month back. Definitely like Liu Kang, Kano's in there, Sonya's in there, Raiden's in there, Shang Tsung's in there, Reptile.
That was a big scene in that movie, man.
Yeah, Sub-Zero, Scorpion.
Yeah, it was. I
Um,
think about it because at the end of the film, Shao Kahn comes out. So yeah,
Right.
yeah, part two definitely was out before the movie.
Because yeah, he says that line, right? Like, does he say that line at the end? You weak pathetic.
I think he does, and then they do all
And
those
that's
stamps.
definitely from the second game.
That's how the movie ends.
And that, yeah, for me too, man. That's I mean, I guess we kind of grew up in the era of video games becoming movies because before then, I guess you could say Tron kind of was maybe
Right.
but I don't know if. I don't know if that's actually the other way around, which is another topic we talked about. We'll probably do
Based
later,
on movies.
which was
Yeah.
games based on movies. So I don't know if that was. I think Tron might be one of those. where it's
Yeah, I think
based
you're
on
right.
movies.
Actually.
Um,
All right.
Yeah, man. 122 million at the box office for Mortal Kombat.
Oh.
I think on a budget of 18 million. So that definitely did good.
Why they made this next movie? Oh, this is something.
Go ahead if you want to kick this one off.
All right, so with the success of Mortal Kombat blowing up, and obviously Hollywood going in a frenzy, thinking how they can milk the franchise and get more money out of it, they released Mortal Kombat Annihilation. That was a letdown to say the least. Like coming out the first one, but it just seemed like this was a rush job through and through for the sequel.
This was for our young fans. If you're listening, this was like we can compare this to don't hate me, but like Rise of Skywalker, where everything's kind of rushed through. I love Star Wars, man, but this movie for sure for me, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I was like, okay, part 3 came out of the game, and we got to make sure everything from that game is in this movie. That sounds like that's what, to me, the directive was. Either from the IP
Right.
owner,
Everybody needs to see.
was it Midway? Yeah. John Tobias was probably, hey, make sure this is in the movie. Make sure this is in the movie. And the director's like, okay, guess we'll try to make it fit. Well, do we get a smoke in this scene somehow? Just like, what the hell? It's just too much stuff going on. And then it's basically ends up becoming like, to me, I don't know how you look at that movie. I look at it like it's a commercial for the game. Like every scene is just so short.
And it starts off crazy. Johnny Cage gets killed, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's
I
not
know.
the same actor either. So
Neck broken or something? I can't remember what exactly. Or am I thinking of something else? If he got his neck
say it
broken,
again?
I can't remember. Or if I'm thinking of something. Okay, he did. Okay.
Yeah, he did. He did.
What the hell? Like, really? Like Katana was a huge part of this one. Am I confusing that with the first? I know she's big on the first one as well. But I'm trying to think what she had to do with the second one now. Like her, something about Sindel. Was she in the movie?
Yeah, Sindel. Yeah.
So, I remember like everything is almost running into each other. Yeah, Shao Kahn killing Johnny Cage, and then all these other warriors coming out and doing who knows what for whatever reason. You got Scorpion and Sub-Zero together in this one, and
Let me sum this one up for you. This is the idea of what would work in the 80s sometimes when you would make a film and then you would make a sequel to a film with different actors, but somehow it worked back in the 80s. It didn't work in the 90s.
Yeah.
Man. Like the people going to the movies were a little more hit too.
changes and all that. And
Characters. Was Robin Shaw the only original actor that came back? I think so, right? I think every other, and Talisa Soto, the Katana, but like everyone else was like replaced, man. There was a new Raiden, a new Sonya, new Johnny Cage.
everyone must go.
Yeah, and Shang Tsung was one of the best parts. Obviously, he was dead from the first film, so he wasn't coming back. But yeah, it was kind of a tragedy.
And the special effects, and they tried to do a lot with this film. And we got Motaro. It just looked bad. You by 90 standards, early 90 standards.
Yeah, definitely looked pretty bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on from this one. The budget for that one was $30 million. It made $51 million at the box office. Released in 1997. And on to our next one. This one, I saw briefly back in the day, so I rewatched it so you don't have to. Wing Commander. I only know one person ever that actually had this game. It was a
Right.
computer game. PC games were a little more popular back in the day when especially for RPGs and stuff, because a lot of consoles didn't handle RPGs that well. I think there was only a couple. And those were more like text-based RPGs, I think. But this, again, this is a product of the 90s and someone making a film that really never made a film before. The creator, I think, of the game was the director of the movie.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
It's got bad effects. It's stagnant a lot throughout the whole film. It has a decent cast, to be honest, like Freddie Prinze and Matthew Lillard. The French dude that comes out in there, David Suchet, he was in. He's been in a couple films. He was in The Core.
I know that movie, but I don't think I've seen it.
It's an apocalyptic movie. I think. Cart's in it. It's kind of like an Armageddon type movie. But he's in that movie too. But he's really good actually in that. Other than that, man, I wouldn't recommend this film to anyone. Budget for this film was like $30 million, and it only made about $11 million at the box office. So definitely,
the cat-like villains looking to eradicate humans or something like that.
Yeah, it's not the best thing, man. Oh, my bad. I had the actor's name wrong, by the way. He's the one with the weird name. Sorry, his name's Checky Cario, I think his name is. Yeah, that's the dude. He's been in a lot of Luc Besson movies too. Luc Besson's famous from The Fifth Element. I think Valerian more recently. But that's it for Wing Commander, dude. On to the next one.
All right, so the next one would be another one based off a big video game franchise that blew up, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, starring Angelina Jolie, which I thought was a good pick.
Did you like the movie?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I remember, when I watched it, I didn't hate it. I think it was great. But it was fun, and there's not much you can do with that storyline. Just different artifacts.
Let's just go ahead.
A bunch of people trying to stop her, and some fun set pieces and stuff, and Angelina looked the part. I can't remember how much money. Well, obviously had to make a decent amount of money since they got a sequel greenlit and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, this made a ton of money, man. But it had a big ass budget too. It was I think the budget was like 115 million. It made like 200.
Yeah, that's pretty monstrous for that time.
And I'll only say one thing about this film. It's like you said, it doesn't have a lot of story. It's a difficult, game to transition into a movie because it's really, to me, those games are more like puzzle games.
Pulling levers and pushing blocks.
So I would say the only interesting thing to me about this film is Daniel Craig's.
Oh, he was great in that movie.
If you guys know who that is, it's James Bond. And that's it. That's all I can say about that movie.
I think we move on to the next
one.
It's worth the watch.
Lara Croft Tomb Raider was released.
All right, moving on. Sorry.
Yeah. 2001 Tomb Raider. Next one, dude. I'm gonna try to keep it short on this one. It's gonna be hard, but I really like Resident Evil. That's the next one on our list. Released in 2002. I'm gonna say these numbers, get them out the way. The budget for the movie was 33 million, and it made about 103 million at the box office. This movie, to me, I was hyped for this movie because I remember the game, and the game was one of the first actual scary, horror games that you could play at home. It was definitely on PlayStation.
Nice, homage to the zombie generation and all those movies, George A. Romero, and it was cool. It had a nice premise. It was fun, scary. Controls were a little odd, but thank God it's better now. But the movie was another one, along with like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, that were really hyped up, and everybody wanted to check it out because everybody loved Resident Evil at that time.
Yeah.
And Mila Jovovich. One thing that was weird was going to the films from the games is like it didn't follow Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield, and so like, well, what's up with that?
Yeah.
And then the new kind of computer.
That
as far as I remember, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Got the zombie dog.
It's I think to me it's the zombie dogs. Michelle Rodriguez, Mila Jovovich. I like Colin Salmon a lot. That guy is in that movie. He was in Arrow, I think. He was like in the first season, second season of Arrow. I can't remember. He played like his stepfather or whatever. I like that guy. He's a pretty good actor in that movie. It was a good movie for. I agree with you. It's not like a direct. It's not taking from the content that well. But it's a good zombie flick. It's a good newer zombie flick, I guess you could say.
And then from here on out, as far as the Resident Evil film franchise goes, I get them all mixed up. I don't know what's what anymore. Like I know Apocalypse is the next one, and not Joe, but Mila Jovovich's character has powers, and then I'm lost after that.
It goes a little bit all over the place after that. You want to go?
All
to
right,
the
so the next one is a sequel to Tomb Raider, so Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, and that was in 2003. And every time I look at this movie, I always forget the subtitle of it, and I always think of. I want to call it The Cradle of Filth because there's a band called Cradle of. I automatically have to say Filth, so I think like it just looks wrong to me. Sorry.
I'm gonna just run through this one fast. This one, it's very forgetful. You don't waste your time watching it unless you're like a diehard fan of Gerard Butler and you need to see everything.
Or Angelina Jolie.
He was in this, Again, $95 million budget, less than the first movie, but it didn't do quite as well at the box office. It made $160 million.
Oh, they didn't lose anything, so that's always good, right?
Take that for what it's worth. Yeah, that's true. The next film, we're kind of running through these because these are just getting worse and worse. The next one is House of the Dead, released in 2003. This is the game
it's very
actually
fun. I remember going to
one of those light games.
Great America, and we had a friend of ours used to work there, and he'd work in the games department in one of the arcades, and he and I would play this. He would just hook it up, so I never wasted any money on the game. So we both beat it, and I remember having like nasty carpal tunnel on my finger after playing it. I would hold the gun like at the first time because my fingers would hurt, and I was holding on my left hand. Yeah. And stick like my middle finger in from my right hand and start shooting like if I was in an old Western film. And all I hear is it was so fun though.
Talking about. Yeah, that game. Yeah, for me, I always think about it. I kind of I was when we were thinking about doing this, I was researching it a little bit because I remember playing it, but found out it was like the Virtual Cop game that. I think it has the same.
That makes sense. Engine. Well, yeah, Virtual Cop.
That's how they got. So they used that same game engine and they did House of the Dead. I like those light games too. It reminds me of like Maximum Risk and
Time Crisis.
Area. I think it's Time Crisis 2, Area 51. Those light games where you can shoot and the game was dope. The movie was not. I'm not gonna tell you anything. Anything of worth. The only thing of worth in this film.
He wasn't. You're right. Was in it. It's supposed to be a rave, right? There was a rave on this island, and some people get there, and nobody's there but zombies, and some weird guy who kept people alive with some kind of serum or something like that.
Erica Durant from Smallville fame. Brief scene in there. That's all I'm gonna say about it. If you want to check it out, check it out. I think it's Jurgen Prochnow, the dude. He's been in a lot of films actually. He was like in Das Boot and Dune. He's in there too. He was you remember Beer Fest? He was like the guy that ran
the old guy.
He was like the main dude.
Okay, he's awesome.
Yeah, the old guy.
Another notable fact from this is that this is directed by the director of U-Bowl. This was making horrible video game
U-Bowl
movies.
I'm sure in the next couple episodes we're gonna say his name a couple times.
He got mad at people because I think he quit the industry saying he was tired of making movies because everybody hated him or something. And it was funny.
Yeah, you watch his movies and you're like, why is this at the theater? My wife was like, why is this came out at the theater? And it was like, yeah, you think it was on Sci-Fi Channel or something. Hey, I'm not knocking those movies. I'm just saying it's like the budget was $12 million. It made $13 million.
All right, moving on.
Moving on, man. We got two left. This is
Yeah,
You
so
want to do this one?
next one will be Resident Evil Apocalypse, another zombie film. Obviously, there's a running theme here. Past couple movies seems like. Uh, yeah, again, it came out in 2004.
Yeah.
Once again, directed by Paul. Was it? No, it was directed by Alexander Whip. It was written by Paul W.S. Anderson. Direct sequel to the first one. Mila
Yeah.
Jovovich was once again playing Alex.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what the plot was. To be honest. Like, how it picked up after the first one.
This one was, she found out she had abilities, and she started to find out that she was
Yeah,
part of like a program, and
okay.
Nemesis
Yeah,
is
I was
in this
getting
one,
this
so
one
that
mixed
was
up.
kind of
But
like the
I
big
thought the
thing with
third
this
one
one.
was when she found out she had powers and Nemesis was there. So is this the one that had Mike Epps in it?
It's like, yes, it's toward. You're right though. You're right. She
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
find
So
out
that, okay.
towards
So that's
the
probably why
end
I'm
of this
thinking
one
that.
that she's got.
I just remember the funny film with or the fun
And
scene I should say with Mike Epps running over a zombie saying GTA motherfucker. I remember being in the theater and laughing at that.
yeah, that's right.
It's that's something. That's one of the main things I remember from the film.
At least in this one, at least in this one, they did have some of the video game
Yeah,
characters in there. I think. You know, they had
not so long since they had Carlos Valero, Joe
Carlos
Valentine.
Oliveira was in there.
So they started putting into more of
Yeah.
the game heroes into with the movies, and that's good. That's always good. So
This one did pretty decent too.
no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Go ahead, my
over you.
bad.
I was saying that once again, though, like with other movies on that we're talking about, the execution probably wasn't the best thing.
Yeah, that's true. It did pretty good at the box office too. 45 million budget, 130 million at the box office. So obviously, Paul W.S. Anderson, he's pretty good at making profit from
He's
films.
that in Hollywood, so
Yep, that's how it is, man. Anything else you want to say about Resident Evil Apocalypse?
no, it's got a cool cover.
Do you think like I'm not sure, and I don't recall if this came out before Walking Dead or after.
Oh, okay.
After the comic was out. Because there's similarities with the way she wakes up.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I do remember how she wakes up. I do remember that, and obviously Walking Dead wakes up.
So it's funny because either one took from the other. You know what I'm saying? I think it's more likely. I think Walking Dead, the first issue was released in 2003 of the comic, with Rick waking up in the hospital and everything. And the film was released in 2004, and she wakes up in Raccoon City's all gone.
I guess it could have possibly been some inspiration there for sure.
Yeah, that's probably one of the coolest parts for me of that whole film. But that's at the very beginning. It's fun, man. It's a fun flick.
Very
again, it's not
going tagline for the franchise. It's just fun, honestly. It's not anything to you can get a whole lot of great acting performances out of it. You're not looking for that in this type of movie. At least I'm not. You get them, hey, that's cool. It's a nice bonus. But you just go along for the ride. You don't want to see zombies getting killed and cool scenes like that, and eat some popcorn and be happy.
And this brings us to the last film, man. This is Alone in the Dark, 2005. Did you ever play this game?
I believe I did. I think I played the remake. I don't think I ever played the original, but I think they did like a remake that came out. I don't know if it was PlayStation or PlayStation 2. I have to go and look that up, but I remember playing that. Never beat it. I think I just rented it at that time. It was still like renting games and stuff like that. It was okay.
It was okay.
No, I
for them
think
they could make a movie about it
for the most part. So I'm guessing they make it low budget, and because the director, once again, expert video game director U-Bowl.
There he goes. Yeah, man. You know what though? The production value of this film was definitely like miles and years ahead of House of the Dead. It looked like a better film. And the cast was better. They had Christian Slater, Stephen Dorff, Tara Reid. They had better actors, but the story was. I watched some of it and I was just like, nah, I'm good. Not gonna waste my life right now. That is, it's. I guess from what I was reading about the film, they had planned to release a fifth game, and like Christian Slater was gonna be like his face was gonna be on the cover of that fifth game too. So
like a tie-in.
supposedly this film was supposed to be a tie-in story to that fifth game, and then the developers of the game decided to scratch the game and start from scratch.
Wow.
And they still went ahead and released the movie. So maybe that's why it was on a budget of 20 million and it only made 12 million at the box office because probably everyone's like, what the hell am I watching? So that kind of sums up that film, man. We kind of ran a little long, but I don't know. What did you think about?
There's a lot that I don't remember. I'd have to definitely rewatch some of them or read some more about them so I can refresh my memory. But definitely still have I think the same thing about them as I did a week ago. Some of them I could do without, or not ever watch, and life will go on and I'll be fine. Some of them I'm sure I'll watch again at some point. Show my kids how dumb things were.
Yeah, for sure, man. Definitely, I agree. I think out of all these properties we talked about tonight, I know Mortal Kombat. I think they're making a new
movie next year, sometime in 2021. When I know everything going on right now with the pandemic, pushing things off for however amount of time it will be, and hopefully it does release. And
that and I think
I believe so.
They're making an animated film at Universal, so that should. I'm looking forward to those two things because we grew up playing those games, man. So as long as there's movies about games that we played,
especially if they're based on games that we really like.
Yeah, for sure. And man, that does it for this episode of the Dirty Dozen. I guess on the next one we got some interesting ones we gotta get. So I'll send you that list.
Alone in the Dark. Sorry. And the award was the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, I guess. That was the worst actress was terrible.
I think that movie
it won for worst special effects. It was nominated for worst song. U-Bowl won for worst director. Life will go on without watching that one again.
Yeah, that one I think it got like 1% on Rotten Tomatoes or something. It's really bad. Don't waste your time, guys.
Take it from us.
Save your lives. Save yourselves. Hey, and I'm sorry, Christian Slater. I love you, dude.
Robot. And I know some of them we give the best explanations or summaries, but the good ones we will. You know which ones to watch.
Definitely. Let me know when your schedule opens up.
Sounds good.
We'll tackle the next set.
All right, take it easy.
All right, brother.
So that was this week's episode. I'd like to say thank you to my guest, Efrain Vega Jr. That guy is my homeboy from way back when. And I just want to say thank you to you guys listening. Appreciate it. And also sorry for any of the audio quality, because of the pandemic and COVID, a lot of people can't get together. So, we do a lot of recording, through phones and all kinds of other stuff, whatever we can do to try to get this content out. So thank you guys for listening, and tune into the next episode coming soon.